There were 4 of us there at the time. There was Dan and Allie and myself and a lady that was helping me at the time. And we had decided after all of this time, with all of the evidence that had built up, and the key kicker was the V weld in his forehead. I actually saw it like 4 or 5 days after it happened. We were doing an interview for another media, and I was standing off to the side, and you could still see the raised skin in the form of the V. I literally stopped that interview and said, "You've got to get a picture of this from this angle, because you can literally see the skin still swelled up from the impact." And I said that was it. That for me was the final straw. And so we arranged a time in late November. We had good tolerable weather. All the leaves had fallen. So we gathered down there, and I said, this is this. I had all the technical equipment, I had all the meters, I had all that stuff, but I said no. I had tuned dowsing rods done by a professional dowser out of Denver, and I have had those for years and years, and they've never let me down. So I just picked a spot, and I said, we're just going to go and see where this takes us. And we took a step forward and moved 4, 5, 10 feet, whatever, and the rod's bent. So we stuck a flag, moved over another 5 feet, moved forward, the same thing, the rod's bent, stuck another flag. Moved over 5 more feet, and then one of the most amazing things that I had never happened before happened. We moved forward, both rods bent to the left. I stood there, and I can't imagine what my face looked like. They were standing there, and I'm going, I think I said, what do I do next? Because I never have had that happen. I've never had that reaction before. And I thought, okay, they're both pointing to the left. I'll turn and go the direction they're pointing. So that's exactly what I did. I turned 45 degrees and just went straight. The rods got to a point and they bent. Stuck a flag. Then we went the other way, the same way. We got to a point, both rods bent to the right. Okay. Followed the rods, they split, stuck another flag. As a result, it was not what I was anticipating, nor anybody else. We thought a doorway is a doorway, and so you're looking at maybe 3.5 feet, 4 feet. You know, we're thinking doorway in the human respect of everything. This thing was in the neighborhood of about 20 feet in length, and it did have entrances on both ends, so it actually would look like a hallway, in which case you'd have an entrance at one end and an entrance at the other end. And then we asked the critical question, Dan, where was it that you got knocked off your tractor? Pushed the leaves away, and there was the imprint of the tire of the vehicle, of the tractor, when he stopped, when it hit his head, and the hydrostat stopped the tractor. The imprints in the soft ground of those tires were still there, and it was less than 2 feet away from what we had just marked.
Yeah.
Yep. Amazing.
Yeah.
So at that point, we, as the group of 4 of us, were assured that this was what it was.
Has there been activity since in that direct marked off area?
Oh, you can get down there anytime, and it'll give you the same readings. There's Alice done a lot of pictures down there with orbs, and also have pictures of things flying around us. When her and I was standing in it.
Yeah.
Video. We have
Videos of
things,
that.
It's
yeah.
amazing pictures to see.
Yes. There's also, if I recall, pictures of the oddest footprints I've ever seen,
Mhm.
and you had snow on the ground, like a foot and a half of snow.
Yeah, there was a lot of snow, yeah.
Absolutely pristine, nothing there except a random just footprints just start. and then they end a little ways further down. Each step is about 12 to 14 foot away from each other,
Right.
and they're perfect indentations. There's nothing else around them at all. And they just appear and then disappear with all this area around them that there's just no way.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And you have a lot of this evidence as well.
Yes.
Mhm. I know, it's amazing.
And
It's
just like those footprints, that's where I got hit.
Right.
It was, there's nothing else in that area, so
And that still goes on today, that you're still finding
Yes.
paranormal type activity?
Oh, all the time. Yeah. I mean, there's always something going on, whether it's just, a feeling. Sometimes you get lightheaded down there. Things get lost, things get found, show up in places that they, are unusual. It's just, there's little things, but we get so used to it, we don't even think about it anymore. We're so used to the
We,
unusual.
yeah, and we, us investigators, Chase, you as well, are very aware of this. We have a classic line for that, and it's usually the abnormal becomes normal for those that live in it 24/7. And it is such a true fact.
Well, in talking with some of the other neighbors and things you have, because there are plenty of corroborating witnesses, we have no lack of that either. I mean, there's, reports in a 50-mile radius of this place of the same things. They're all there,
Yes.
the same reports and people talking, whether they anonymously reported this 15 years ago,
True.
and some internet site, or it was, relayed earlier in the story face to face, but, that's kind of what we've been gathering, is that the residents up here on the mountain, they like their privacy. They don't feel like they need to tell their neighbor every little detail of every minute of their day.
yeah.
They appreciate their because I kind of ask the questions, well, when you see this stuff, do you not want to pick up the phone and report it?
Who? To who?
Right, like,
Basically.
Great.
right.
Who would you call?
Right.
Exactly.
And then, the newspapers and the media, all this is fine. Like I said, the tongue-in-cheek is going out, and but I'm glad you got a hold of Michael, and I'm glad that we can be out here now and absolutely really discuss and investigate some of this going
Yeah.
on, and hopefully tonight we'll get a bunch of evidence. I know we're going to put out trap cameras, and
Yep.
we're doing infrared and spectrum, and there's going to be all sorts of
Well, it's
tools
great.
and things.
It's great that you're doing this, because we have so many questions. We ask, where do you go? We don't just want ghost hunters up here, or just UFO hunters up here.
Or
'Cause
curiosity seekers.
there's just so many things that we feel it's all connected somehow.
And the
And this-
government doesn't acknowledge anything, so
Well, I think the government wanted a little bit of something you've been finding around here. Didn't you get a visit not too long ago?
I did. They I caught them dumping stuff out of the back of a transport plane. It was low enough that they were skimming the top of the trees, and you could see the pilot. And I took samples in the hayfield of where I guessed where they were. It would have been different places in the field, and I called DEP, and they were all excited and all gung-ho about, oh, we're going to get them. And I said, well, it was an Army plane. And all of a sudden the phone was quiet. And the guy told me, he says, well, there's nothing we can do about the military. And today I'd probably get in trouble, but back then I told them, I said, well, next time I catch them dumping stuff on my property, I'll shoot them down. And
Yeah.
You wouldn't say
he
that
said,
today.
oh, well, don't do that. We'll investigate it. Well, this was a Friday. I talked to him, and gee, on a Saturday morning, I got a visit from the township supervisor and people with him wanting to get my samples because I told them I took samples. They were wanting my samples. They said they would get them tested, and of course, you know, they took them and
You give
Probably-
them all of your samples?
no, no. I kept some, and I told them it was all of them, but
What did it
They
turn
said-
out to be?
I don't know.
They never told
They
you?
never said. But
Have
then
you tried to get the information and call them and
no, they said they'd get back to me and get them tested, and
Obviously,
know, they just-
didn't. Yes, they didn't do anything.
yeah, they just wanted to make sure that they got
Got
my
the
samples.
have you seen a plane fly that low often?
There was a few times the neighbors and a few people watched those military planes with the wide body on the bottom
C-130.
fly over and dumping, just catching a treetop so you can't see them dumping stuff out.
A C-130 skimming tree tops is a pretty phenomenal sight. I mean, let alone just, you know, the noise. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. I mean,
whenever they seen us people standing there, and then they it was like you could see the pilot's face, and it's like oh, and
Wrong place.
then they took they just hit the what you call the gas or something, and the smoke blew out, and you could just hear them picking it up the speed. But I think they got confused the way the lakes are, and the next lake over would have been into the game lands, and I think they just started dumping stuff early, and that was when they were getting rid of chemicals for chemical warfare. When they NATO or whatever, they was supposed to get rid of
Agent Orange?
Agent Orange and all those
Defoliants.
chemical war stuff. That so their
That's how they
solution
got rid
to the pollution was dilution. They just mix it in the water and dump it. And where else but your state game lands. That's probably why they say someday you won't be able to eat the deer.
oh my gosh. But
So you never know.
they've never, have you ever had any strange visitors or anybody, you know, coming up and maybe harassing you for,
No, I was cooperative that day I gave them, but you know, I won't trust people. It just, yeah.
An interesting side to this, and it may be or may not be related to it. In some of our earlier investigations of that same field, we actually brought from the lower end of the field a metal detector in that gas companies and electric companies use. They use the stick type, which was really, at that time, that was a great one. I didn't want an average $89 metal detector, so it was really cool. As soon as we walked into that field, that detector went off. We had it down to its lowest setting, and we could not get the detection off. It was always detecting traces of metal throughout the whole field. You could dig a shovel of the material out of a hole and stick it, and it was still activating the metal detector. Now, two things. Is it from the aircraft situation, or is it from the meteorite so-called impact site? But if it's not iridium, which is only found in meteorites essentially, then what is it? What is activating the metal detectors to a depth? We went down 14, 15 inches. From the bottom of the hole, we were still getting the metal detector going off with the dirt we pulled out. So it's not just shallow on top. This thing is penetrating deep down into the ground. So, you know, just some
I'm
more.
brain melting.
Yeah, that's
Oh my
right.
gosh.
More of the I almost call it intrigue at sometimes, because it's just it's a phenomenal, beyond comprehension story. If this was the Sci-Fi Channel or something, you might say, okay, who wrote this script? But
There's so many twists and turns to
Yeah.
stories up here of different things. I mean, there's so many stories going this way, that way. Yeah, it would take a long time.
many years.
Yeah.
What would you like out of, an investigation and come up and just bring in our big boys, bring in our science team and our researchers and our best UFO and best paranormal experts? What is it that you guys would like from us?
Just the truth of what's really going on up here. Well, you can answer too, but
Yeah.
what's
No,
under the
that's-
ground, what's under here.
What makes the radiation meter go off?
Yeah, we didn't even touch on that.
There's
There's
so
all
many,
kinds.
There's just so many
Just
mysteries and questions.
Tell me what that metal is.
Right.
Yeah, what's this stone?
That has raised my curiosity a long time. A ghost, ghosts are gonna be ghosts.
Yeah, we're not worried about the
But
ghosts.
this is tangible. Tell me what this is.
Right, okay. Bigfoot is elusive, and if he's up here, you're okay with that.
Yeah,
And
basically.
if Mothman is really, and we say Mothman because it was bipedal and winged,
Mhm.
and of course,
Well, what are you going to do about it?
right.
Exactly.
If he is here.
Right. So, so there's,
I mean, the real physical stuff, we'd like to know more about.
Well, we can end this very simply. They have the question. We have the question. I think we have people in the organization that have specified equipment that can actually change electromagnetic energy of an area. And I don't know, but I have a strong feeling if we're able to actually be able to do that in the proximity of what we think and I know is a dimensional doorway, perhaps we can open it. We can open it. We don't have to depend on some energy someplace else to open that. The only thing that we have to be prepared for is what comes out when we do open it.
you may not need to open it. You may need to let maybe the energy do what it needs to do
Right.
on its own time.
Right.
And, I'm just,
Sure.
that's what makes Michael and I a good team on that is, it's an egg, it's a seed.
True.
Let's open
Yeah.
the portal, why don't we leave it alone and just hunt what comes out, or hunt,
It might
know.
suck you in.
yeah, I'm not getting sucked into nothing, guys. I'm gonna be on this side, just, filming, documenting, getting my readings as you guys get sucked in.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like,
But
but
one of the things you ask, and we didn't think about it at the time, that happens down around there is missing time. There's been incidents of people missing time, falling asleep, waking up, and there's time missing. What was the other thing I was just went through my head? Oh, I'm brain dead right now.
Just so many things.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, but there was a couple of things I was just specifically thinking of, and that was one of them, the missing time. The draining of the batteries. Constantly draining batteries down there.
right, it's difficult. It's difficult.
That's what I was thinking.
You down there with charged batteries to film something or tape something. It'll last maybe anywhere from a couple minutes to it's drained.
Yeah.
And you got a 2 or 3 hour battery.
Yeah.
And
I know we were prepared, and I was prepared. I had 3 batteries fully charged. I had more than 9 hours of time. Went through 2 of those batteries in 45 minutes.
yeah, well,
Amazing. Well, it all sounds like it's, what we like about this place is not only, the really cool stuff. Come on, Bigfoot, Mothman, really, eyes. I mean, they're amazing.
Red eyes, yeah.
But it's just, and if it was just you guys, it'd be good enough because it's backed up with all sorts of evidence and, way more evidence that we just don't have time to hit on right now.
Right,
And, but
Yeah.
we'll be in, doing a little more here and everything. But thank you for inviting us. This is just so
Thank
cool. And
you.
we can't wait to get busy so we can get
Yeah.
started, yes?
nice to
I
meet
agree.
y'all and
I'm glad you
come
came.
back.
I just want to thank you both. You've been so hospitable to me over the years, and it's a credit to you, and it's a credit to these people because we have been all searching for the same thing. What do we do with it? And perhaps now we have the people in place to be able to answer some of those questions. And I just have to give you tons of credit for sticking with me.
Yeah, thanks, guys. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you so much. Well, let's get busy and
Let's do
get in that car and start taking
Yeah.
us and show us some stuff.
Let's
Okay.
go.
Awesome. All right.